I'm going to read chapter 14, The Winged Monkeys. I want to read many novels on this course, and then I have to read a lot. When it's possible, and then I might well read it chapter by chapter. Outside, under construction, and lots of noise, but I don't care. Anyway, Dorothy and comrades in the end killed the Wicked Witch out east, and the Wicked Witch was afraid of water, and then Dorothy spread pour water on the Wicked Witch, and then the Wicked Witch killed. Winkies who were captured and stayed a slave and got free because Dorothy killed the Wicked Witch. After killing the Wicked Witch, Dorothy and comrades were great and were glad because they could get their wishes, and Scarecrow for brains, the Lion for courage, the Tin Woodman for heart, and Dorothy could get back to Kansas. Okay, so now let's start reading
Chapter 14, The Winged Monkey. You will remember that there was no road, not even a pathway, between the castle of the Wicked Witch and the Emerald City.
When the poor traveler went in search of the witches, she had seen them coming, and so set the winged monkey to bring them to her.
It was much harder to find their way back through the big fields of buttercups and yellow daisies than it was being carried.
They knew, of course, they must go straight toward the rising sun. They started up in the light away.
When the sun was over their heads, they did not know which was east and which was west, and that was the reason they were lost in the great field.
They kept on walking, however, and at night the moon came out and shone brightly
among the sweet-smelling yellow flowers and slept soundly until morning, all but the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman.
The next morning the sun was behind a cloud, but they started as if they were quite sure which way they were off doing.
I am sure we shall sometime come to some place.
But day by day passed away, and they still saw nothing before them but the scarlet field. The Scarecrow began to grumble a bit.
Surely lost our way, he said, and unless we find it again in time to reach the Emerald City, I shall never get my brains, nor I a heart, declared the Tin Woodman.
It seems to me I can scarcely wait till I get old, and you must admit this is a very long journey,
said the Cowardly Lion with a whimper. I haven't the courage to keep tramping forever without getting anywhere at all. Then Dorothy lost heart.
She sat down on the grass and looked at her companions, and they sat down and looked at her and thought about it. For the first time in his life, he was too tired to chase a butterfly that flew past his head.
His tongue and panted and looked at Dorothy as if to ask what they should do next. Suppose we call the field mice, she suggested.
They could probably tell us the way to the Emerald City. To be sure they could, cried the Scarecrow. Why didn't we think of that before?
Dorothy blew the little whistle that she'd always carried about her neck since the Queen of the Mice had given it to her.
Every minute they heard a pattering of tiny feet. Many of the small gray mice that came running up her. Among them was the Queen herself, who asked in her squeaky little voice.
We have lost our way, said Dorothy. Can you tell us where the Emerald City is?
Certainly, answered the king, for it is a great way off. for you have had it at your back all this time.
Then she noticed Dorothy's golden cap and said, "Why don't you use the charm of the cap and call the winged monkeys to you? They will carry you to the city of Oz in less than an hour."
I didn't know where there was a charm, answered Dorothy in surprise. Was it? It's written inside the golden cap, replied the King of the Mice.
"But if you are going to call the winged monkeys, we must run away, for they are full of mischief and think it great fun to plague us."
Won't they hurt me? Asked the girl anxiously. Oh no, they must obey the wearer of the cap. Goodbye.
She scampered out of sight with all the mice hurrying after her. Dorothy looked inside the golden cup and saw some words written upon the lining.
These, he thought, must be the charm. So she read the directions carefully and put the cap up on her head. Take care. Is that not standing on her left foot?
"What did you say?" asked the Scarecrow, who did not know what she was doing. "Hello, hello, hello," Dorothy went on, standing this time on her right foot.
Hello, tried the timid coming. 226. Said Dorothy, who was now standing on both feet.
Who was now standing on both feet. This ended the saying of the charm, and they heard a great chattering and flapping of wings as the band of winged monkeys flew up to them.
The king bowed low before Dorothy and asked, "What is your command?" "We wish to go to Emerald, the child, and we have lost our way."
"And we have lost our way." "We will carry you," replied the king, and no sooner than he had spoken than two of the monkeys caught Dorothy in their arms and flew away with her.
Others took the Scarecrow and the Woodman and the Lions, and on little monkey seized Toto and flew after them, and all of the dogs cried out to join him.
The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman were rather frightened at first, for they remembered how badly the winged monkeys had treated them before. But they saw that no harm was intended, so they rode through the air quite cheerfully.
Had a fine time looking at the pretty gardens and wood cars below them.
Dorothy found herself riding easily between two of the biggest monkeys, one of them the king himself. They had made a chair of their hands and were careful not to hurt her.
"Why do you have to obey the charm of the golden cap?" she asked.
"That is a long story," answered the king, with a winged laugh. "But as we have a long journey before us, I will pass the time by telling you about it, if you wish." "I shall be glad to hear it," she replied.
Once, began really there, we were three people living happily in the great forest, flying from tree to tree, eating nuts and fruits, and doing just as we pleased, without calling anybody master.
Were rather too full of mischief at times, flying down to pull the tails of the animals that had no wings, chasing birds and throwing nuts at the people who walked in the forest.
But we were carelessly happy and full of fun and enjoyed this every minute of the day. This was many years ago, long before us came out of the crowd to lure over these lands.
There lived here then, away at the north, a beautiful princess, who was also a powerful sorceress.
All her magic was used to hurt the people, and she was never known to hurt anyone who was good.
Her name was Gala Yet, and she lived in a handsome palace built from great blocks of ruby.
Everyone loved her, but her greatest sorrow was that she could find no one to love in return, since all the men were much too stupid and ugly to make with one so beautiful and wise.
She found a boy who was handsome and manly and wise beyond his years.
Gayly made up her mind. When he grew up to be a man, she would make him her husband. So she took him to her lovely palace, used all her magic powers of them.
Any woman could wish.
When he grew to manhood, Kralala, as he was called, was said to be the best and wisest man in all the land. Wise man in beauty was so great that Garrett loved him.
Loved him dearly and hastened to make everything ready for the wedding.
My grandfather was at that time the king of the winged monkey, which lived in the forest near the Scarlet Palace. The old fellow loved a joke better than a good dinner.
Just before the wedding, my grandfather was flying out with his band when he saw Kulala walking beside the river.
He was dressed in a rich costume, pink shirt, and a purple velvet, and my grandfather thought he would see what he could do.
The band flew down and seized Kulala, carrying him in their arms until they were over the middle of the river, and then dropped him into the water.
"Swim out, my fine fellow," cried my grandfather, "and see With water at his spots, your
Lila
call.
was much too wise not to swim, and he was not in the least spoiled by all his good fortune. He laughed when he came to the top of the water and swam to the shore.
But once the girl came running out to him, she found his sick and velvet all ruined by the river. The princess was angry, and she knew, of course, who did it.
She had all the winged monkeys brought before her, and she said at first that their wings should be tied and they should be treated as they had treated Ulala and dropped in the river.
But my grandfather's pre-the thought he knew the monkeys would drown in the river with their wings tied, and Carla said a kind of word, but then was a security.
3 times the bidding of the owner of the golden cap.
This cap had been made for a wedding present to Bella, and you said it have caused Princess to have her kingdom.
Of course, my grandfather and all the other monkeys at once agreed to the condition, and that is how it happens that we are 3 times the slaves of the owner of the golden cap, whoever it may be.
And what became of them? Asked Dorothy, who had been greatly interested in
Ulala, being the first owner of the golden cap, replied the monkey, he was the first to lay his wishes upon us.
As his bride could not bear the sight of earth, call us all to him in the forest that he married her and ordered us always to keep where she could never again.
The monkey, which we were glad to do, for we were all afraid of her.
This was all we ever had to do until the golden cap fell into the hands of the wicked witch of the west, who made us enslaved in kiss, and afterward drive the old himself out of the land of doors.
3 times you have the right to lay your wishes upon us.
As the Monkey King finished his story, Dorothy looked down, saw the green shining oars of emerald city before them.
She wondered at the rapid flight of the monkeys, but was glad the journey was over.
The strange creature set the travelers down carefully before the gate of the city. The king bowed low to Dorothy, and then flew swiftly away, followed by all his band.
That was a good ride, said the little girl. Yes, and a quick way out of our troubles, replied the lion.
How lucky it was you brought away and that wonderful cat.
Of chapter 14.
The end.